From KLST Studios, this is the ASU Season Pass. Now here's your host, Marcus Officer.
Hello and welcome to the new show, ASU Season Pass. I am your host, Marcus Officer, and on this show we will be bringing you in-depth coverage of all Angelo State athletic programs. On today's show, we will be previewing the upcoming seasons for the women's soccer and volleyball teams, but first, we turn our attention to the football field. I am joined with head coach Will Wagner. Coach, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Marcus.
Absolutely. Coming up, the season's right around the corner. Talk a little bit about how excited and amped up you are that come Thursday, you're in full swing. Just talk a little bit about that.
Right. We're finally off camp mode, and we got kids that are coming in this weekend that have been watching video, and we got practice, and so you can tell the whole atmosphere has changed because we know we're in game week.
Absolutely. Now, take us through a typical game week. Obviously, you got preparation playing on Thursday this week. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about what Monday will bring and upcoming for an early game that's not typically would be on a Saturday, but now on Thursday. Talk
right.
About
we
the
have
schedule.
Basically we have to bump our whole schedule up, and so Sunday will be our what we consider our Tuesday practice, and then tomorrow on Monday will be our Wednesday. So those 2 days are our toughest days, going full pads, and then we'll tone it back a little bit on Tuesday with half pads, and then obviously Wednesday we'll do a walkthrough, and then it'll be game time on Thursday.
Absolutely. Now, this isn't your first rodeo. You're entering your third year now here at ASU. Talk a little bit about how the past 2 years' experience has really helped shape you to get to this point, and what can we expect this upcoming season, this being your third?
Well, it's always a learning situation being your first time being head coach, and so the last 2 years really prepared me for just different situations that arises. And the great thing is that we got a lot of players back that have been with us for the first two, and so they kind of understand what we want, what's expected of them, and so that's really prepared us for this 2013 season.
Absolutely. Now let's talk a little bit about some of your expectations from your team. What do you demand out of your team, and what do you expect, especially now, like you said, they know what you're about, they've played for you. Talk a little bit about your goals and expectations.
Well, I think what we demand and expect are kind of the same thing. We demand to have a great effort on the practice field and in games as well, and so our guys know once they walk onto that field that it's time to practice. It's not time to visit. We go out there. We want to get our job done, and that's something that I've really tried to do, is really make our practices short. But we do, our workouts are high intensity. We got a lot of reps in our team segments, and so. But our guys know if they push themselves hard in practice, they'll be rewarded at the end, and with the shorter practice and less conditioning.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of which, so you got the 2012 seasons in our past. We have the 2013, but let's take a look back. Talk a little bit about 2012, what you take away from that season, and what do you expect to change coming into 2013?
Well, 2012 was some highs and lows. Obviously, one of the biggest highs was winning against Abilene Christian, first time since 2005, and so I really thought that kind of got us around the corner, but we had a little setback. We came out flat against West Texas A&M, and that was kind of disappointing, just our performance, because I thought we could perform a lot better in that game. And so you finish off with the win against Incarnate Word, and so our conference results were better, 4-4 instead of 2-6 the year before, and so you can kind of see the building that we got going on, and hopefully that'll continue to be a trend in 2013.
Absolutely. So you've gone 2-6, 4-4. Now you have 2013. You've had the off season. Walk us through this off season. What it's been like for your team, and how ready are they for Thursday as well?
Well, that's a great thing is when you have guys coming back off of 5 and 6 seasons, there's more determination to be better, and especially those seniors. This will be their last time playing college football, and so those guys are really determined. In turn, we have some great leaders coming out of that group, and so we had a great off season. The hiring of Chad Herring as our strength coach was huge for us. We saw great improvements from our strength and speed when it came to testing time, and then it was probably our best spring ball that we've had since we've been here. Just the guys knowing the system, going back to knowing what's demanded and expected of them on the field as well. And so with those things going on, and then all the guys that stayed back this summer, working on their own. There's high expectations going into the season now.
And now you have two people to lead your team with those high expectations in your quarterbacks. Now, to this point, there's still some decisions to be made. However, how do you feel going in? Talk a little bit about your quarterback situation and what do they bring to the table, and what are you looking from them to help lead this ASU Ram team in 2013?
Well, that's always been the biggest question: who's going to be our starting quarterback? And we got two really good ones that I feel very confident in either one of them playing. And so, hopefully we'll have something decided by Thursday. If not, we'll just go with it. But I feel confident, whichever one that walks on the field at that time, that they're going to be very successful. And the great thing with those two quarterbacks, they're great leaders. They've both been elected captains by their peers. So that says a lot about their leadership. But there's chemistry with both of them. Sometimes when you have two quarterbacks, there might be better chemistry with one than the other, but you don't see that with Truesdale or K. Wash out there. And so you'll see both of them come Thursday evening. And so I'll feel confident whichever one that starts the game that we'll do very well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach. We'll stick around. We're going to transition to the defensive side of the ball. That conversation we have coming up after the break. Welcome back to ASU Season Pass. I'm still joined with head coach Will Wagner. Now, Coach, we talked about the offense, but of course there's two sides to the ball. You have defense and special teams. Tell us a little bit about some of the strengths of your defense coming into 2013 and what really has you excited about this side of the ball.
Well, the most exciting thing about our defense is all the returns that we have back, and so that kind of plays to our strength with all the maturity that we have of guys that know what our defense inside and out, and so hopefully you'll see a more sound defense. The great thing is we're one of the top defenses in the conference, and so our kids take great pride in being number one, and now that they're shooting to be the best in the nation.
Absolutely. Now, you do have a stud at linebacker and rush receiver. Talk a little bit about his leadership, his experience, and his maturity, and what that means for the defensive linemen, the linebackers, and also the secondary, and the team as a whole.
Right. Rush is your typical linebacker, a kid that's high intensity, will run through a wall, and so our kids really feed off of his intensity during the games and in practice, and so he inspires our guys to play hard, because you'll see him no matter what, how hurt he is, that sucker's still going hard 100%, and so our guys really feed off of him, and I think that he's the main reason our defense is so good.
And with him also will be keys to the success of the defense. So your defensive line's a strength, your linebackers are secure. What coming into this season must get locked up in order for you to take that next step at ASU, and as far as continuing to climb in the rankings like you hope to do?
Well, the one thing that we'll see have a lot more depth on our defense, and we got a couple spots, our weak side safety and a couple corner spots that we need to have guys really step up and lock those down. But I feel good with all of our depth that we have at each position. That's something that we're really excited about this season, especially up front, defense line. Those guys wear down. They play a lot of reps, and so having the ability to rotate guys in and feel confident about their ability and what they're going to do just adds a lot of confidence to our coaching staff.
Absolutely. Now, the off season's done, the strength lifting is done. Come Thursday, you're going to be in full tilt. But let's take a look at some of September's games. We have your schedule right here. ASU kicks things off Thursday against Black Hills State at home, and then on September 14th, you, Coach, go to Dallas to take on number 8 ranked Colorado State Pueblo in Arlington. And now, we talked a little bit, but how do you feel about that game and that trip and that experience for your team as a whole?
Well, it's an exciting time for all of our kids. We have quite a few kids from the Metroplex area, and so those guys getting to go back home and play in front of a lot of families and friends, that's exciting. But also to be a part of it and play in Cowboy Stadium, that's a neat experience, and not many people get to do that. And so our kids are excited about it. The great thing is we've done it once, so hopefully that we won't be kind of wide-eyed when we go in, and we'll be prepared to take on CSU Pueblo.
Absolutely. Now, moving on with that schedule, ASU will then close out the month of September at home, the 21st against Tarleton State, and then on the road when they take on Valdosta State in Georgia. Now, that's a tough first 4 games of the season. What type of grind is that for your team? How do you mentally get prepared to get through that tough of a schedule opening the season?
Well, it is tough mentally, just because you're playing 2 top 10 teams in your first 4 weeks, and so our guys know that they got to prepare every week, and that's the great thing about the Lone Star Conference. It's the same exact thing. Each week you're going to play a top team. If you're not mentally prepared, physically prepared, then it's not going to be a very good outcome for you. So, but our guys are excited about the challenge of our schedule and what's in front of us, and look forward to it.
Absolutely. Now let's continue. Let's take a look at October's schedule. Now the schedule doesn't lighten up too much for the ASU Rams as they start the month against the newest member of the Lone Star Conference, McMurray. After McMurray, Angelo State will face off against Eastern New Mexico on October 12th for their homecoming match at San Angelo Stadium. But they close out October with a grueling two-game stretch. First against West Texas A&M on October 19th, and then on October 26th, they face off against Midwestern State. Both are picked to finish 1 and 2 respectively in this year's LSE standings. We now take a look at the last month of games in November. On November 2nd, Texas A&M Commerce and Angelo State will square off, and then on November 9th, they will face off against Texas A&M Kingsville. The Angelo State Rams will look to end the season on November 16th against Incarnate Word, but hopefully that won't be the last game as the Rams are hoping to get into postseason play this season. Now, McMurray will join the conference in 2014, adding an 8th team to the LSC standings. Talk a little bit about that team. What do they bring to the conference, and how do you feel about squaring off against them start of October?
Well, the great thing about adding McMurray just adds another opponent in our conference where we've lost a couple with ACU and Incarnate Word moving out. So, that's exciting when you coming from a scheduling standpoint that you don't have to go and look for other games, but the proximity also adds another element to it as well, making it a close game so all of our fans in town can make that trip for the day and watch that game. Absolutely.
Now that's going to be a tough schedule throughout the year, but I know, Coach, you'll be ready for that. Thank you for joining us. Best of luck Thursday, September 5th. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to ASU Season Pass. Now we transition from the football field to the volleyball court. I'm joined by head coach Chuck Waddington. Coach, welcome to ASU Season Pass. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, coming up this week, you guys are in action, but you're coming off one of the best seasons in school history. Talk a little bit about last year, the 29-6 record, and what type of foundation does that lay coming into this year and beyond?
Well, one of the biggest things it does is it sets the bar high for this year. We've got a great group of kids returning. We had a lot of strong players last year. Some of those kids graduated, so there's some spots to fill. But, I would much rather be coming off a great season than, a challenging season. So our kids know what to expect. They really know how to compete at that level, and so I expect them to continue to do so.
Now, with great outcomes come great expectations. Coming into this year, you're ranked in the top 15. How do you feel about that ranking, and what do you think that means to your team? What does that signify to you and the ASU?
Well, I think our kids are comfortable with it. We started our season last year ranked about the same place. We finished up in the top 10 in the country. So I think they want to be there, and I think they understand what it takes to stay at that level. We play some good teams to give ourselves a chance to stay in that position.
Now, last year you had some All-Americans on your roster. Now some of those have graduated. You still have one more, Maddie Hugh. Talk about her leadership, what her presence on the court means to your team, and how that helps you as a coach.
Well, she's definitely a leader on the court. She's a go-to player for us. We want her to have the ball as much as possible. But the biggest change for her is her leadership off the court for us this year. We had some strong leaders on our team last year, and Maddie had more of a secondary role as far as leadership goes, but now she's stepped up her game in a major way. The kids look to her for direction, for leadership, for everything that goes with this team. So I'm really proud of her for doing that, and I'm excited about where she's going to take this team this year.
And now when you have a player like that, of course, like you mentioned, it makes your job easier, but as far as building, what does she bring from last year's team? And coming into this year's team, what is this a completely different team or from last year, or how do you expect to grow?
Well, it's a different crew for sure. We've got to develop some chemistry with the players that are on our court right now. When you change setters, that changes things as well. So we're working hard to develop that chemistry between our new setters and our hitters. But what Maddie brings is that experience. She's mentally tough. She wants to win, and she's not afraid to help the other kids understand that as well.
And, of course, your expectations for your team is what coming in. Every coach has their set of parameters and what they want to accomplish. What are yours coming into year 6 at ASU?
Well, honestly, our goals never change. From my first year to my 6th year, we want to win the conference. We want to go to the NCAA tournament. We want to get to an Elite 8, and regardless of what I have in the gym, those are always the things that we want to do. And I think our kids really buy into that because, You know, it was 20 years since we won a conference tournament, you know, or a conference championship. And, you know, we don't want to go another 20 years. We want to do it again. And so our kids are hungry for that. They understand what it takes to do that. And so I feel like they're in a good position to try to defend that title.
Now that hunger will soon be satisfied with the ASU Invitational coming up this week. Talk a little bit about what's coming on Friday, Saturday, what teams you will be facing, and what can we expect as fans watching the Rams this year.
Well, yeah, preseason is over. You know, we've had our scrimmages. We've got through all that stuff. It's the real deal now. You know, we get to play this weekend, and we're hosting a tournament. We play at 12 and 6 on both Friday and Saturday, so plenty of opportunities for people to come watch us play. You know, I think they're going to see a strong defensive team, you know, and we're going to serve tough and play crazy defense and keep the ball in play and frustrate other teams. I think that's our primary goal, you know, and the more we do that, the more it opens up offense for us. So that's the plan.
And turnout, I mean, the crowd's going to be coming out there, pumped coming from last year. Talk a little bit how excited you are to hear the noise, hear the cheers, and your girls as well. Talk a little bit about that experience.
Well, our girls love playing in front of our crowds. You know, we were third in the country in attendance last year for Division II, and you know, there's 2 more spots I want to fill. You know, so I'm looking forward to great crowds all year long. I know our kids work hard to bring fans in the stands. You know, the community is really supportive of us, so. It's an awesome environment to play in, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, we appreciate your time. Come Friday, ASU will be in action. You're ready. We're ready. Coach, thank you for joining us.
All right.
Best of luck this season.
We'll see you there.
Stay with us. Season Pass. We'll be right back. Welcome back to ASU Season Pass. Now we move from the volleyball court to the soccer field. I'm joined by head coach Travis McCorkle. Coach, welcome to ASU Season Pass.
Thanks for having me.
The season's fast approaching. How are you feeling about coming into the 2013 season?
It's exciting. It's always good to start playing against other players, other teams, you know, and start to test our new team and see where we're at.
Absolutely. Now, last year, 11-7-2 finish. Not a bad season in your book. What did you take away from last year and coming into 2013? What can you look to improve upon on an 11-7-2 record?
Well, I think for us it's just about continuing our consistency. You know, last year we had some new players that we were, you know, trying to mix in and blend in, but we also had a big, pretty decent-sized senior class. So this next year, this season, we've got a lot of new players coming in. We brought in 11, so it's a pretty big recruiting class. And, you know, we want to see a good defensive effort from our group. And then also what we want to do is get more goals this year. Last year, I felt like that was one of the things we could improve upon was getting some more goals.
And, of course, scoring will help. I mean, scoring, you win. But talk a little bit about last year. You said you had a large group of seniors. What did they mean to that team, and how, if anything, has that carried over to this year's bunch?
Well, I think that they've kind of helped set the tone. You know, we had a couple seasons where there were some issues a little bit with, you know, everybody knowing the right things to do on and off the field. And not that anybody got in big trouble, but they just weren't as focused as they could have been, and they weren't as driven as they could have been. And I felt like, you know, last year was the first time that when we were at the conference tournament and we lost that game, the team really was devastated by that. You know, it wasn't like they were just, you know, okay, we made it to the conference tournament, let's go home. They were really disappointed that we didn't advance farther and even possibly win the conference tournament. So not having them there we're looking for some shoes to fill.
But with those shoes, you said you have a lot of new players, 11 new ones. Talk a little bit about what does having those good recruiting classes mean for the team this year, next year, and for the next 4 to 5 years. Talk about how important recruiting classes are to a successful program.
Well, I think one of the things that it did for us this year is increase our depth. You know, we've always had a certain number of players that, you know, we have on the squad, but maybe once you get into the bench a little bit deeper, you know, sometimes things can get a little bit more rough with the team play. And I think that this year, when you look at our roster, I think that our team is more consistent from, you know, whatever some people might consider the top players to what they might consider the lower players on our team. And this year, I just feel like there are more players that could step into a starting role and keep us at a same, you know, good level within the team.
And that level comes, like I said, high expectations. What are your total expectations for this year? Where do you want to improve as far as record goes, positions, and what do you want to see from your girls coming into the opener coming up and then also into conference play?
Well, I want to see us continue the strong progress that we've made in the last 5 years. You know, the last 3 years, you know, 2 of the last 3 years we've gone to a conference tournament, won a conference game, which ASU hadn't done prior to that. So we've gone to the national tournament in 2010. We've continued to develop. I want to see us continue to increase our expectations. And so this year, as part of that, last year we lost winning the conference by 1 win. And so, again, the players are right there. They can almost taste it, but, you know, they're not there. They're not invited to the table and celebrate that conference championship. And and we want to push to get there this year, if possible.
Now, as an athlete and as a coach, being so close to just reaching your goal, talk about how that drives you as a coach and as a team to really give that extra effort in the offseason, which you're just coming out of. And did you see that from your girls this offseason?
I did. I think, we had a lot of girls that spent a lot of time this summer, and sometimes, some girls are better than others about spending their summer wisely. And I really felt like this year, because of the good core of leadership that we have within our team with returners, I felt like they did a lot more this summer. We did our fitness testing. It's pretty rigorous for a soccer player, and we had a lot of them that did very well in their fitness testing. So I feel like they're in a good position right now. It's just about trying to get those young, new freshmen all on the same page with our returners. And the quicker we can do that, the quicker we're going to have success.
Now, with a bunch of new faces, we're going to have new names to be looking out for this year. Talk about some players to watch coming into this season and how excited you are to see these girls finally blossom with the new shot at ASU.
Yeah, well, returners, we have Maggie Schaefer is one of the ones that we're going to definitely be looking to. We graduated both of our center midfielders last year, so having her back on the team and helping lead our center midfield is going to be key for us because they're like the quarterback for our team, or the point guard or whatever. They really dictate a lot. So getting her back in and playing in center midfield, her success is going to be a key to our success probably.
And absolutely, Coach, we are rooting for you. Thank you for joining
Appreciate
us. But
it.
before you take off, let's take a look at some of the upcoming events this week at ASU. Thursday is our first Ram Club Luncheon. It's at 12 noon in the VIP room in the Janelle Center. It is open to everyone and no membership is required. Cost is $10 for lunch. You have a chance to hear from ASU coaches and watch video. Also, the new AngeloSports.com is now up and running. The newly redesigned site features all the breaking news, stats, and live video for ASU sports. A new addition to the site now allows the ASU faithful to buy tickets to ASU home events online, as well as purchase ASU gear with the largest selection of ASU apparel and gifts with over 1,000 different items to choose from. That does it for us here at ASU Season Pass. Join us next week.